When you learn how to master what is called importance, you will actually experience one of the secrets of our reality. And that is anything that we make important, whether it's to get a text back from someone, to get a specific job, to have people see you a certain way, anything you make important, you are literally blocking from coming into your life. You are creating resistance around that thing, and you are saying it is not equal to my self-image to be experiencing whatever that important thing is. And when you learn how to decrease the level of importance that you give to things, you will find that then it is much easier for you to resonate with that which you actually want. Now, I believe this is one of the secrets of our entire reality when it comes to resonating with what we want to experience. And I believe people block themselves so often because importance is, in a way, if you think about it like a seesaw, and you're on a seesaw, if you are on one side with importance, it's like importance is on the other end. And if you make something important, you like separate yourself from it and you put someone else on a pedestal, and then you're looking up at them and they're looking down at you. So in an interesting way, it's a way of blocking and resisting that which you want. Now, what's interesting is much of this is rooted in making things that are not meant to be important, because there's some belief there that that thing will equal happiness. That thing will equal more success. That thing will be the cure-all to an emotion that is being resisted being felt. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you the power of decreasing importance. I'm going to show you how we, in a way, there is this grandiosity that happens where there's shame, where putting people and things on a pedestal is a way of feeling familiarized shame from childhood, how to actually integrate that and how to completely transform your life from the inside out. Now, first off, let me say this. Back in 2018, I learned about this concept. I had already been on YouTube for about a year. I had started to gain a certain amount of momentum and success. I had, at the time, quit my 9-to-5 job working women's shoes. I had about 150,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I was very much focused on making videos and gaining success. And also, there was a lot of work ethic I was in. There was a certain energy of momentum that I had. Then one day I was at the gym and I met this guy. And he was a guy that was told me that back in the day, or not back in the day, like a year or two ago, he had gotten out of a book that was written by a Russian quantum physicist named Reality Transurfing. And that this book was the key to him becoming a millionaire. And I thought that was interesting. And actually in the moment I saw it, I think I got the book on my Kindle. It's like a 500-page book. It's been translated into English. And then what I did is I didn't read it for a while. But then a few months later, I picked up the book, and there were a few concepts in this book that completely transformed my entire life. And I began talking about the concepts in a book. I eventually stopped talking about the book because it became very important that to some of the people that represented the book, that other people don't talk about the book, even though I was sending thousands of people to read the book. It was this weird thing. But anyways, I stopped talking about the book for a long time. Now I'm kind of talking about it here and there. I don't really care anymore. It's not important. But basically, the idea of what I learned here completely changed even the results I was getting, even on YouTube. Because what I would do is, as I started to get success on YouTube, I would start to associate with that success. I'd be like, oh, there's 500 subscribers a day coming in on YouTube. This is great. And then if there were a day that it would be less than that, I became so focused on results that there'd be this resistance that was created. And I realized that the more important I made getting specific results on YouTube, the more resistance I created and the more I blocked it. So what I started to do is I realized that also when I first got on YouTube, it was just making videos to add value, but then there was pressure to continue to create momentum. And then I realized that it was like I was trying to get something out of YouTube. I was trying to get more views, get more people to pay attention to my stuff. And I'm like, wait, this is an end result this is a means to an end now, instead of just doing it because I love it. So there was this concept in the book that's called decreasing the level of importance. And it says that anything you make important, you put on a pedestal, you energetically resist from coming into your life. There are what are called balancing forces in our reality that are here in a way to balance out the excess potential. It's called excess potential, excess energy you give to something. And even think about this when it comes to relationship dynamics. If you are super excited to meet someone, oh my God, I'm going to talk to this person. Oh my God, I'm going on a date with this person. There's going to be weird excess potential energy there, and it's going to repel that person from even wanting anything to do with you. So it happens naturally in nature, this excess potential thing. And what happens is when you decrease the level of importance, it then releases resistance, and then you can actually have, and it's natural for you to have that thing. So what I did is I started to apply this decrease importance technique. And the technique was a way of seeing things, and it was a way of, in a way, relating to things. So I would see it as natural for me to have great success on YouTube, but not just the results. I would enjoy the process. I would make it like it would be fun. And what I found is that by doing that and decreasing the importance, what's funny is I stopped focusing on results. I started focusing in the present moment. And because it was no longer really, really important to get specific results, guess what happened? My YouTube channel took off to another level. I remember at the time as well, I was moving into a house I moved out of my dad's house, which is where I was when I started making videos. I moved in with some friends in a nice house, but then I realized I wanted to live by myself. I remember at the time in Vegas, the rental market was going crazy. I wanted to rent a house that was in a good location. I found this epic house. There were like 6 other applications on this house. And at that time, I didn't have the best credit. I've got great credit now. But back then, it was there were some things I was dealing with that happened in 2012 when I went through my awakening. And I didn't have the best credit. However, I was making good money because I was focused and having success. But I remember what I did is I actually applied another concept from that book too. I'll share with you. But what I did is I saw it as natural for me. I didn't say, oh, if I get this house that I really want. I saw like 4 houses. I didn't like any of them except for this one house. It was this Zen house. Back in the day, I used to record YouTube videos in it. It had like the blue walls with like the wave in the background. It was like right next to the airport. It was like close to everything. Open floor plan. I loved it. I go into the house, and what I did is I saw the vibe of it. And at nighttime, what I would do when I was at this other house and I knew I was getting ready to move soon, I was going to, one way or the other, I was going to find a place. When I put my application on the place, I was like, you know what? It's not important. Either way, I'm good, whether I get the house or don't get the house. So I started to decrease importance. But then what I did is I also visualized it as if I was going through my daily routine in the house, and I saw it as natural. And I felt a passion energy from being in the house. Then another thing I did is I reached out to the owners of the house. I read when I gave the rental application, I put in a letter. And that letter said, hey, there's something in reality transferring called inner and outer intention. And when you connect to what is called the inner intention of someone else, it's called outer intention. But basically, I was to tap into making it a win-win for both of us. So it's like I basically tapped into kind of like expressing to them how passionate I was about the house. But at the same time, I, in a way, was expressing like things I knew that would soothe them. Because when people see that there's like a 25-year-old moving into a house, they may assume that this guy's going to party or something like that, or see my driver's license, or say, oh, this guy's a party guy or something. So what I said was something very authentic. I don't think this was a form of manipulation because I was being really authentic about it. But I was like, listen, I work from home. I love this house that you have. I think it's a beautiful home. I love the Zen. I gave some details, like I love the Zen style. I love the pool in the backyard. I love this. I love that. And I just would love to get up every day to be inspired to be in a house like that, to do the work that I do, and to feel very aligned. and I think you've done a great job, and I plan on taking good care of the house, blah, blah, blah. I don't party a lot or do any of this stuff, just so you know, so I think I'll take great care of the house. Something like that. Basically, out of the 6 people that applied, ended up getting the house. And I was very excited. And even after that, I remember applying this same idea to other aspects of my life, where I could tell that in the past, if you're going out, like for example, I remember I met a YouTuber, and the first time I met this YouTuber, it was new for me to start meeting people that also had YouTube channels and stuff. And this is before things had really grown, so I was like newbie to this type of stuff. And I remember it was like I wanted this person's validation and approval because they're on YouTube, and I was like, they're doing what I do. And I remember going to meet this person, and I had this weird energy where I was like, I could tell I wanted things to go well. There was this control dynamic there where I wanted to be seen a certain way, and there was importance there. But you want to know what happened? I met this person, actually ended up, won't go into the drama of it, but met the person, and it ended up being kind of like where I hung out with this person once, and then I went back to, this was in LA, I went back again, and then there was a certain energy where something happened where I ended up going to this person's house, and for like 2 hours, I waited out. I drove like 4 hours from Vegas, and for 2 hours, I waited out their house while they were in the house, and they like just didn't come out. They knew I was outside, but they were like, they said they were dealing with someone, but it was something. But I ended up waiting for 2 hours outside, and it kind of pissed me off. So then I went to the gym, and then I came back, but I started to see this person a little bit differently because I started to see the way I was being treated and also the way he treated other people. So basically what happened, though, is I stopped giving a shit. I stopped making this person important because I realized that I didn't like the values that this person lived by. But what was funny is as I let go of all of that importance, not in a judgmental way, but just in a recognition, like, oh, maybe it's like not what I thought, or maybe it's like it kind of took the blinders off that was like the rose-colored glasses. I stopped caring. But you want to know what funny is? Once I stopped caring, there was then like this desire from this other person to like connect with me. They started to see my value. They started to think that like, you know, it was like as I let go of the importance, we started to see each other more eye level. Whereas when you don't do that, you put them on a seesaw pedestal and they see you and they look down at you. So it was very interesting as I switched that energy, how much different I was able to connect with people either at a deeper level or just maintain my own frame. So this works for not just goals in your life, but relationships as well. If you are, think about this. How much permission do you give how much do you give yourself permission to be yourself when you're around certain people? Now, when you're around one of your best friends, they accept you as you are. It's not very important that you show up a certain way, that you look a certain way. You're not trying to manipulate them into seeing you a certain way. You're just being yourself. You may feel like there's more unconditional acceptance there. But then you go on a date with someone that you think is a 9 or a 10 and they're so amazing. And then you stop being yourself and you start putting this weird pressure and importance on them. Well, guess what? They feel that projection. It repels them and it creates a lack of intimacy, a lack of connection. So it's funny because if you were to see the person you're going out with and you were to take off the rose-colored glasses, not to see them as less than you, not to be like you're not special at all, but like to see them as natural. Like anybody you see that you look to certain characteristics they have and you're like, oh my God, they're so beautiful, they're so amazing, they're so this, you are negating the other side of it. Not that they're horrible and they're whatever, but it's like you're in a way just like hyping up aspects of them that is not equal to reality. You're making it very important for these aspects that aren't very important. That's why when you meet someone, if you treat them with respect and with like a connection of like you're connected to yourself and it's like a natural thing, they'll feel more comfortable. If you put them on a pedestal, it'll feel weird. I know that when even just what I do for a living, when I meet people in public that recognize me for my videos, there are times where I can't help but feel the projection from people that are like, you know, oh my God, Aaron, oh, blah, 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 you're so this, you're so that. And that it's like, it's almost like it's hard to connect with that because it's like there's this projection. But when there's times I meet people that are so cool and they're just like, so, oh, hey, great to meet you. I love this about, or whatever, but they can still say nice things. But at the same time, it's not like this pedestal energy. It's like this natural energy that's very comfortable. So importance, like when you think of, I also realize social anxiety, people that go out and they have social anxiety, you're making it really important what other people think and feel about you. If you were to decrease that, and you were to, the key is to let go of making things important that you think are important from childhood, and instead making something greater than yourself important. So for example, instead of validation and approval being important because to get your needs met as a kid, you had to get the validation and approval of everyone around you, instead make it important or value. I could say, another word could be like value strongly, respecting yourself, being the real you. If you didn't care about what people thought as much because you didn't value it as much, going out and social anxiety wouldn't be as much there. A lot of times, social anxiety is a form of codependency, where you feel codependent on other people to be a certain way or to create distance from them because it feels safer, because you think their energy could harm you. So something else that I will mention within this whole sphere of importance that I'm talking about is that in relationship dynamics, there's this grid. It has to do with shame. It has to do with boundaries and grandiosity. And it has to do with anytime there's like, it's like as kids, if we didn't learn how to set boundaries, we may be more boundaryless. Or having very, very, very strong boundaries could be a sign of control as well. A sign of like being afraid of intimacy. You stay over there. And on the other axis of this, it has to do with there's grandiose, it's worthiness and like shame. And what happens though is a lot of times we may have the tendency to either put people on a pedestal because we're used to feeling shame and it's a familiarized emotion. And on the other end of it, some people may see themselves as better as other people, which is still shame, but they're overcompensating to be better than other people so that they don't feel shame. But the key is, of course, to be in the middle, to have a sense of boundaries within yourself, but also to not be projecting shame, what's called one up or one down. Not to be grandiose, better than other people, but at the same time not to feel internalized shame of like there's something wrong with me. So I stay in this familiar energy where people don't choose me or I'm under people because that feels normal. And really what this gets down to is your ability to let go and to trust yourself and to trust the universe, to trust God. Because what is the opposite of control? Which is, if you think about it, importance is a way of controlling. Anything you make important, you're going to focus on, you're going to feel, you're going to try to get. But if you let go of importance, their fear is if I let this thing go, I'm going to be in the unknown. So really what you're afraid of is the unknown. And one of the most powerful things I believe you can do is to begin to get to the core of your own inner child work. Because there is most likely an inner child part of you that feels not seen, not heard, not soothed, not nurtured. And that feels like it's their responsibility to get their needs met. Because you're maybe ignoring that inner child. So what you want to do is start to develop trust with that inner child. When I started to do this work and I realized there was a part of me that felt not seen, not heard, not soothed, not nurtured as a kid, I started to breathe, like be with that version of me, breathe with that version of me, and be there for them. There was a part of my nervous system that began to relax. And there's this inner shadow, like Carl Jung calls it the shadow. We all have this shadow. And if we don't acknowledge this part of ourselves, it will try to get acknowledged through everybody else on the external because we're not doing the internal work. So one thing I recommend you do is you start to become aware of your desire to control, to make things important, and start to become aware of how you can develop a relationship with your inner child and understand that another way you could channel that control is by creating structure in your life. That structure could be, like every day I do some work, I film a video, go to the gym at a certain point. I have a certain cadence of my day. And that creates safety for me. And I can still deviate a little bit and go, But what I'm saying is like you can create structure within yourself and also choosing your own values. What is important to you? It's important that I get this information out there into the world. It's important that I allow it to flow through. It's important, not important like on a pedestal, but like important like I value it. And then I value some of these other things less where I realize they're not going to meet my needs, right? Like getting a certain house or having a certain amount of money in the bank, like it's not going to be the end-all result of like, now I can feel safe, whole, and complete. It's about finding that inside of yourself and with your own inner child. Now, I do have a course that will show you step by step. It's free. It's called High Vibe 101. It's a $1,000 course for free inside my community called High Vibe Tribe. If you want to go through an entire process to do this deep level work, to let go of what no longer serves, to become aware of your own values, to start living by this higher vibrational you, then you could do so by clicking the link in the description box below. And also, if you want a video that shows you even more about importance, how to master importance, I have a video right here you can watch that will completely change your life. Have you ever noticed that the more important you make anything at all, the more important it